Raila Odinga has planned to be sworn in on the 12th of December. And with the formation of the 7-member committee to actualize this, among other NASA strategies, this becomes a reality. And with this comes a lot of dangers. I want to advise Raila Odinga to shelve this idea of being sworn in. It is wrought with danger. First, Raila Odinga will be aware that to take oath of office in a manner prescribed by the Constitution will be treason. After President Uhuru Kenyatta took oath of office on the 28th of November, nobody else can take that oath. It will be treason. If, however, Raila Odinga intends to take oath of office in a manner other than that prescribed by the Constitution, to skirt around this issue, it may not be treason, it may not be legal, but it will still be dangerous. Why do I say it is dangerous? First, when his followers turn out to witness this occasion, they will turn out in such a large numbers. They will turn out in such a large numbers because this is what they have been waiting for. They have been so fired by his announcement of this swearing in. Remember the way they were fired when he came back from America and witnessed what happened. There was loss of life, loss of property, people were injured. When they planned to have a parallel rally during President Uhuru Kenyatta's swearing in, the rally that never took place, we saw what happened. Running battles with the police, tear gas everywhere, water cannon. And very unfortunately, Master Mutinda died, 7-year-old boy. God rest his soul. You can imagine the kind of clash there will be between the police and the NASA followers. So I believe this is going to be very dangerous, given that I suspect he may want to conduct this swearing in, whatever it is called, in his stronghold, one of his strongholds, either in Mombasa, Kisumu, Kakamega, or perhaps Kitui. And the clash with the police may lead to a lot of harm to his followers. And therefore, Raila Odinga, suspend this planned swearing in for the good of the country and for the good of your followers and for your own good. One thing Raila Odinga must know is that people fear him. Men don't like finding themselves in situations where they fear other men. And what happens when somebody or people fear you and they cannot touch you? They then direct this anger to your followers. Don't occasion harm to your people by wanting to be sworn in, especially given that there isn't much you could do or you can do after being sworn in anyway. Unless there's something you know we don't know. That swearing will count for nothing except the lives that will be lost, the property that will be destroyed. So I urge you to think again about this. Do I mean that we should forget, all of us, and move on? Am I asking Raila Odinga to forget, forgive, and move on? That's not what I'm saying. It may be desirable, perhaps not, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you must, as NASA, have many other strategies. And my thinking is, it will be better for you as NASA and for the country as a whole to employ other strategies other than this one of being sworn in. I'm quite aware the intention of NASA is to make life uncomfortable for the government. I'm aware that this swearing in is just one of the many things they intend to do to make it so difficult for the government to operate that the government will be forced to come down to a negotiating table and perhaps then have elections before 2022. I'm not in a position to say no or yes. All I'm trying to say, that since there are many other approaches, like Raila Odinga said, there are many ways of skinning a cat or killing a cat. This one of being sworn in, I think, is the most dangerous. It will come with the heaviest of consequences. The casualties will be enormous. The dangers should be avoided. If NASA were, for example, to step up their boycott of goods and services of selected companies and organizations, and do so with better strategy than they have hitherto done, this could get the government to talk, because Kenya is a fragile economy that cannot withstand serious economic boycott or sabotage. Undesirable as that may be, is a far better approach than this swearing in. Picketing, demonstrations, and other forms of mass action come with consequences. But those consequences are nowhere compared to what we shall meet during this swearing in. I am therefore, in conclusion, appealing directly to Raila Odinga to put aside this idea of being sworn in, because I can see the danger. The danger is not just the harm to your people, Raila Odinga. The danger will also come during the confrontation with the police. Something could happen to Raila Odinga. And then hell will be loose. This will be serious. It will not be serious because when something happens to Raila Odinga, there will be demonstrations, there will be death. That may happen. But the worst thing that we must fear as a country is if through these kind of demonstrations something happened to Raila Odinga, or if he took oath of office in the manner prescribed by the Constitution and the government decided to arrest him, go ahead and even jail him or put him even to death, because that's the law. You run the danger of now having to deal with riotous mobs, militias that you cannot control. The sense of a leader, even within the opposition, is that he can control his people. Government can talk to that leader. But in the absence of one leader who unites the people and the people have grievances, government may have nobody to talk to. And the people may have nobody to listen to. And they will refuse to listen to these other small people. Left on their own, we could find ourselves in bad situations. I say this with a heavy heart as a person who loves this country. I say this because I know in countries like Central Africa, civil strife is difficult to manage because the militia in those countries, in that country, they answer about nobody. They even, young men form groups for rent seeking. They terrorize people. And they are not answerable to anybody. We don't want to find ourselves in situations like those. So let's avoid situations that could bring harm to people, harm to our leaders, and harm to the image of the country. Because when a time we have confrontation between the police and the people, our standing in the international community goes down badly. So Raila Odinga, you have many other options. I ask you, as a person I respect, to think again about this swearing in. You still have about 10 days to do so. I also ask the NASA supporters to understand it when Raila Odinga and the NASA leadership finally accepts my advice, and I'm sure the advice of other people, to shelve this idea. Don't go wild. Accept it as part of strategy.